Well, it was common to ask guys buying stuff for their girlfriends if their girl was a clit, G-spot, or both kind of girl. Most of the time they didn't know. Sex shop and sex workers of Reddit. What are some of the best examples or clients not knowing how anatomy sex works? It's my favorite viewer, back for another story time, so good to see you. Since you're already here, can you like the video and subscribe? You wouldn't want to miss any more story times with your favorite narrator Andrew, wouldn't you? If you do, I'll send you some gamer girl bathwater. Thanks for doing that, the bathwater is on the way and let's get into the stories. Customers firmly placing their thumb above my pubic bone, not moving it, watching me have literally no reaction, and then believing that they brought me to orgasm by doing that. I had a guy who wanted to meet up for full service, but said he didn't want me to be disappointed by how small his dick was. He said, "Don't worry though, I'll bring a banana for us to use, so you'll still be satisfied." First one that comes to mind is having to explain to a gentleman that the reason his wife doesn't enjoy toys probably has something to do with the fact he was cleaning them with Clorox wipes beforehand. And numerous explanations that anal beads are not ripcords and your partner likely isn't a lawnmower. Sex shop worker here. I answered a call from a man who had purchased a sounding device. It goes in your urethra if you didn't know. He couldn't get it out. I asked him if he'd used lube and he told me no and that it was starting to hurt. He asked if he should yank it. I just had to tell him to contact his doctor. I hope he got it out. One more. I had a daytime regular named Terry. This was 20 years ago, but I'll never forget this old guy's name. He would stop by for 10 minutes, grab a VHS from the bargain bin, and attempt to flirt with me while checking out. One day I notice Terry is in the male enhancement section, and he's been there a minute. I wander back and ask if he has questions. He is holding a penis pump and very seriously asks if I could handle something that big. I laughed out loud, that usually shut down any advances, but Terry kept at it. He told me there were obviously women who could handle it or we wouldn't sell them. Then Terry told me that his dick no longer got hard, but if he were able to keep suction on it while he put the toy himself inside a vagina, that just might work. He never came back into the store after his purchase that day. Maybe it worked? Or maybe some woman killed him for trying to shove a ducking penis pump inside her. I managed porn stores to get myself through college. One of the girls I felt most sorry for was a chubby girl, no hate here, who said no one would go down on her and she wanted to know what oral sex was like. I pointed her to a little pink butterfly toy that had battery-operated suction. I gave her a handful of free lube samples to go with it and wished her luck. She came back to the store later that same night, toy in the bag I sent it home in. She was upset and wanted a refund because she said the butterfly was very uncomfortable. I quickly told her all sales final and then asked questions. So, the girl had inserted the hard plastic butterfly suction side in. She had no idea that she had a clitoris above her vaginal opening that could bring her to orgasm. I sent her on her way with some education and more lube samples. I didn't see her again though, so let's call that a win. I worked at a sex shop for like 3 years, and the thing that irked me the most were people who were willfully ignorant about lube. Even after I'd explain why it's good for you, they'd be like, "Nah, that's for old ladies." For either anal or vaginal sex, it's there to reduce friction and make it more comfortable, safe. Many men and women have this misconception that if a woman cannot produce enough moisture on her own, then there's something seriously wrong with her. It's actually very common for women of all ages to use lubricant from time to time, either because they're nervous and inexperienced, having very rough sex, or because their bodies simply don't produce that much. It would hurt me to think of all the women, especially inexperienced ones, getting their canals just ducking shredded because men or other women are shaming them for needing lube. Working there taught me that a surprising amount of people are very stupid, selfish lovers. Be careful out there, folks. This doesn't quite count, but kind of, before the twist ending. So I worked in a sex shop when I was 18. They had a staff party, and being the new recent hire, I had to stay and maintain the shop. Fair enough, senior may junior must. I get this girl come in at like 10:30, half hour before closing. She wants a dildo, but says she's never bought one before and needs assistance. Sure. I mean, I hadn't even owned one myself, but I had been there a month or so and had read the packaging while stalking, so I knew a bit. Also, we were encouraged to look up sex toy related articles on the work computer during slow periods. So okay, we go over. She says she's looking for something without vibration as that doesn't do much for her. Straight up dildo. So I show her a few, but she's not interested. Bigger, she says. My ex was big and I need something similar. I miss him. Okay, so we go bigger. I'm pointing out 7-inch dicks and whatnot, and she's like, no, bigger. So I point out a honking 8-inch one. She sighs and hems and haws, and then says no, bigger. What about this one? Near the bottom of the rack was something with a name relating to a horse. I can't remember the actual name. It was like an 11.5-inch long dildo. Not only is that most certainly a fetish thing and definitely not something her ex had, this girl was like 5 and 100 pounds. But that's what caught her eye. So me, being all professional but internally thinking, bitch, you wanna die? I explain to her the size and the girth and give her a light warning of potential medical hazards if used improperly. She breaks out laughing. And then my bosses walk in. Turns out she worked there as well, but since we were a one-person staffed establishment, I had never met her. She was sent in as a joke, her phone on the whole time, so the owners could hear what I did when this tiny-as chick asked for a horse cock. Former sex shop worker here. I'll tell a story that kind of fits this. At our store we sold an array of dildos. Some gag gifts, all shapes and sizes and colors etc. The largest one by far was called the Great American Challenge. It is a purple behemoth that I'm fairly certain is girthier than my arm. I'm a skinny guy. One day this guy comes in a skin for a big gag dildo for his friend. I show him the big cheap ones. They are about $20 but large. Still smaller than Great American Challenge though. He says he wants something even bigger. I tell him there's nothing bigger that's in that price range. He then asks to see the bigger ones anyway, regardless of price. I show him the Great American Challenge and tell him the price is $70. Dude gets wide-eyed and buys it right away. He says, and I quote, "This will be great gag gift as a paperweight." Now we get the gag gift cover up quite often. Girls use it all the time to buy for bachelorette parties. You aren't fooling anyone, ladies. But this guy using it with our largest dildo was not surprising. I assumed, however, that he knew what he was doing. About an hour later I get a call from what is clearly the same guy. I know it's him because he says he just bought a purple dildo from us that is very large. And that's only the Great American Challenge. We sell them once every couple months at best. He asks me what's the best way to use it. Confused, I ask if he has any prior experience with smaller toys. He says no. This is his first time. I advise him to not use the toy and start smaller. And say that's about all the advice I can give you. He then one-ups himself and asks if he needs lube or if petroleum jelly is good enough. Of course you need lube, what the duck, man, I reply. He says, well, I don't have any, damn, guess I'll just wing it, thanks for the advice, and he hangs up. I don't know whatever happened to that guy. But I'm assuming he ended up in the hospital with quite the story. I can return this, right? You guys can just clean it and put it in a new package or whatever. If the industry worked like that, everyone would have hepatitis. Gross. No. I received this blow-up doll as a joke gift, and for a joke I blew it up and tried to duck it, but it's really uncomfortable and doesn't feel realistic at all. It's just for a joke though, so I really don't want it anyway. I would never use it, I just, tested it. As a joke. Sure, buddy. Sure. One blessed girl, studying the bondage rope with a furrowed brow and tiny frown. How do you get the guy's cock inside you with all the rope tied around it? Try this premium brand of lube. What kind of porn are you watching, exactly? My partner wants a toy, but I'm insecure with the idea of them ducking a piece of silicone that doesn't look like my crotch. Look at this photo of my genitalia and help me find something to match. They always had genital warts. And they always ended up buying either the tiny teen pocket pussy with no discernible labia or the 11 ramrod with huge juicy balls. How we delude ourselves. A memorable old guy who walked with a cane and paid for his bi-weekly $2 $5 DVDs with hundreds and only hundreds. I want to see close-ups of pussies, but I want you guarantee that there will be no visible us in any shot in this film. If you won't guarantee that I won't see something I won't like, I will never shop here again. If you're not willing to get within 3 of a butthole even in your fantasies, you're never going to. Oh. I see why you need the porn. Very obviously 30 plus yo dude, sobbing openly. My mom will murder me if she finds out I bought a dildo, please help me find something I can put in my ass without her knowing. I sold him an Anero's plug, but I'm concerned about why his mom had such vigilant access to his butthole. Countless dudes buying black rhino pills. This is supposed to make your dick bigger and let you duck way longer. Countless women buying numbing lube spray cream. This is supposed to make his dick feel smaller and make it so you can get it over with way faster. Anyone shopping for a Hitachi? I heard these will make your clit die go numb, lose nerves, fall off. They all bought one eventually anyway. Thanks for watching. What did you think of the story time? Let me know in the comments below. If you liked the video, smash that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any more story times.